ActionSA has rubbished the DA's allegations that it played a role in the ousting of the city of Johannesburg's mayor and speaker. The party's chairperson, Michael Beaumont, says the DA is shifting the blame on the real reasons why that coalition arrangement collapsed. Let's bring in now Ziyanda Ngcobo, our senior politics reporter who was at that briefing. Ziyanda, it's been, at least 4 days of these two parties going back and forth about who's responsible for the collapse of the coalition. What more has ActionSA actually said today?
So today was the first time ActionSA officially spoke out against what happened then within that multi-party coalition agreement. And in essence, the first thing that Michael Beaumont raised was the fact that a coalition agreement can be adjusted at any point in time, which is exactly what took place, but also that the DA is being dishonest in its role in towards the collapse of that coalition by not agreeing to have an IFP speaker. They've said vehemently that, in fact, you cannot have, the DA occupying 3 positions in the council, that being the speaker, the mayor, and otherwise. And in fact, you need to share power, that other coalition partners are not there to support the governance of the DA and that they're all equal. Let's listen to what Michael Beaumont had to say earlier.
But let me start with the unfortunate business of having to address what can only be described as pathological dishonesty over the course of the last few days. ActionSA has watched as we have been labelled somehow as the people who collapsed this coalition government. And this has been the allegations made by the leader of the Democratic Alliance and many of his colleagues, despite the fact that at ActionSA, at every single turn, we have voted with the coalition, even when we were in disagreement with the approach taken. This dishonesty is deliberate. It is designed to distract from the question of how this coalition collapsed, and that is why we feel it necessary to come here today to set that particular record straight.
So that's Michael Beaumont for ActionSA, but in his briefing on Friday, John Steenhuisen in fact said the ActionSA leader, Herman Mashaba, a former mayor in Johannesburg, was the one central to the collapse of this arrangement.
So ActionSA says this is completely not true. In fact, that it's the internal ructions within the DA that led to this. In particular, there was a letter sent by, Helen Zille to the technical team of the multi-party coalition agreements, which said that they would not be supporting then a move to have an IFP speaker elected following the ousting of Vasco da Gama. Now, in the meeting the Sunday before, Mpho Phalatse's ousting, it was in that technical meeting where it said that John Steenhuisen was apparently not aware of such a letter having been sent by Helen Zille. Added to this, ActionSA is saying they did everything that they could, and in fact, that if Mpho Phalatse and her caucus in Johannesburg had been left to their own devices to be able to make their own decisions without the interference from Cape Town, as Bongani Baloyi has put it, then she would have likely survived as, mayor of Johannesburg. Let's listen to what Michael Beaumont had to say regarding then this issue of the DA wanting to dominate the Council of Johannesburg.
Because a lot has been said of the story, a deal is a deal, and you must stick to the negotiation, etc., etc. But the very important point to make here is that the negotiation took place after the coalition had collectively installed DA people into the positions of mayor, speaker, and chief whip. In Tshwane, the coalition even went and reversed that, and you will remember that a DA speaker resigned and a coalition speaker who is a COPE speaker who's currently there now was put in their place. So when we say a deal is a deal, deals are negotiated by political parties. But the same could not happen in the city of Johannesburg, because the numbers in the city of Johannesburg are far more precarious, as we have seen very recently in technicolor detail. But in addition to that, the secret ballot problem of electing a new speaker would have been a problem in Johannesburg. So the coalition had to say, it is an imbalance, but we can't do anything about it.
Ziyanda, finally, what then is left of the political relationship between ActionSA and the DA?
Very interesting that you asked that, Tembegile, because as far as ActionSA is concerned, we've got 2 more metros that we're likely to see befalling the same fate as the city of Johannesburg, primarily Ekurhuleni and the cities of Tshwane. Bongani Baloyi, the Gauteng leader for ActionSA, is saying that they want a cool-off period insofar as the DA is concerned because of what they describe describe as essentially the arrogance of that party, and that there's no longer a coalition agreement in place in the city of Johannesburg. They're willing and ready to fight from the opposition benches. Let's listen in.
At this moment, that there is no longer a coalition in the city of Johannesburg. All parties, ourselves included and the DA, are now individual parties. We note the process that the Democratic Alliance has started insofar as the litigation and them challenging it. They have not directly engaged us, we note it. We have accepted our new reality, that we are opposition.
Never a good thing in any relationship when there's a communication problem and one of the partners asks for a break.
And nobody's mature. Political maturity in this case.
Ziyanda, thank you. Before we get into any more trouble, that's Ziyanda Ngcobo, our senior politics reporter, bringing us up to speed on developments in the city of Johannesburg.